Let's dive deep into the concept of chain abstraction, a new age of one account, one interface with access to all blockchains. But before we proceed, let's get a little insight on where Near is coming from.
So yeah, I'm Ilya. I'm co-founder of Near. Previously was in machine learning and AI, co-author of Attention is All You Need paper that introduced transformers and kind of revolutionized a lot of modern AI. And now with Near, we're taking a lot of the kind of technological innovation to really bring the kind of final chapter of blockchain, the chain abstraction, to truly enable 1 billion users.
There's a lot of fragmentation in Web3. There are multiple different networks, multiple different chains, hundreds of applications, thousands of forks. As a user coming into Web3, it's very difficult for you to understand, why should I use this network? What is its value prop? What can I do on this network? There's a lot of barriers to entry. There's a lot of friction when it comes to navigating Web3, especially in the DeFi sort of scope of things.
The chain abstraction world is still pretty untouched. I think Near is probably leader in terms of making this a narrative. And on the user side, it's like when I'm using Uniswap on a single app infrastructure layer, I don't know what layer 2 or layer 1 I'm using. It's just, I can be like, I want to do a swap from Arbitrum to Optimism, not worry about token standards, not worry about who's being involved, and do swaps for that.
Yeah, I mean, the core idea of chain abstraction is that as a user, you should not care about which chain the applications run on. You want to receive the security. You want to ensure that your assets are not gonna kind of run away from you, and there's no kind of additional counterparty risk. But you don't really want to know exact implementation details, exact which bridge to use to move between two chains, which gas token is used on the other side, that you need to install a different wallet provider because it doesn't work with this, transaction message format, and things like that, like all the technical details of, the differences between chains and the difference between kind of applications. And this is like generally in the natural extension that we've been kind of as a space working on, like how do we simplify user experience, right? Having kind of, just one private key, a seed phrase that accesses your account is very insecure, has a lot of UX challenges, and in general been problem on onboarding people and kind of how to pay transaction fees when users start, right? This is where we actually started. We originally were trying to use blockchain for our own use case for data crowdsourcing in AI, and we had a ton of people who we wanted to pay money, microtransactions, 15 cents per task. But for them to actually start using it, they needed to buy crypto first, which was very counterintuitive, right? It's like, we're willing to pay people for work, but before you can be employed, you need to give us money or give somebody else money, right? Account abstraction was kind of this original concept of kind of hiding a lot of that complexity, allowing user kind of to onboard easily, to use whatever convenient kind of login methods, not pay transaction fees, and then being able to potentially later switch to a more secure custody methods, etc. But it wasn't like, I would say, hitting fully, although Near have account abstraction from the day one. We have, over 10 million monthly active users because of this, because it's so easy to onboard new users. And the challenge was kind of localized. Each of the account abstraction ideas and methods have been localized to a specific chain. And so if there's a cool stuff going on whatever new layer 2 that just launched, Near users are not able to go there, right? And then as a developer, you now have a choice, right? You're launching not based on where the best tech is for your application, but actually based on where you perceive the users and money will be, right? And so kind of the choices were like more about almost like gambling on where the users and other people will go to, versus actually like, hey, I'm launching my app and I'm growing it, and it doesn't matter where users are coming from. So chain abstraction is solving that, bringing a whole set of tools to the market across, Near, Cosmos ecosystem, Ethereum folks, you guys, to really tie it all up together, abstract all its infrastructure, and give users really convenient experience to navigate the whole Web3. And I think, we have this application called DAppDapp, right? So it right now aggregates 14 different layer 2s. It has over 160 different smart contracts accessible, and all of it is from one UI, right? So you go to DAppDapp, you sign in, and you can transact across different layer 2s across lots of different smart contracts. You don't need to switch browsers, you don't need to switch tabs, etc. Now, this is pre-chain signatures. So with chain signatures, you'll be able then to not switch networks and not figure out transaction fees and bridges. Now you can say, well, I have some Bitcoin and I want some bonk, like I don't want to know how exactly this transaction happened. Just give me the amount of bonk I want, right? And, somebody somewhere will figure out how to, swap Bitcoin for maybe USDC, move USDC to Solana, and swap Solana to Sol and Sol to bonk, right? But like as a user, you don't really care.
Predictions of like what the internet would be in the 1990s, and they're like so off, and people didn't realize what the internet would be. And it's almost like the internet had a lot of these emergent properties where as it progressed, people kind of figured out what it would be used for and what its use cases were. And before that, a lot of people made fun of the internet and were like, there's this really famous clip of Bill Gates, and Bill Gates is on a talk show. And on the talk show, the host is like asking him like, so what's this internet thing? And he's like, well, on the internet, you can listen to a baseball game. And then the host is like, yeah, but I can do that on a radio. And he like pulls out a radio, and he's like, well, you can send an email to your friends. He's like, yeah, but I could also do that with a piece of paper. And they're basically just tearing apart the internet, saying that like it's useless, it's garbage, and there's no point to it because you can already do these things. You're finding a solution to problems that don't exist. And it was hard for people to fathom back then what it would become because the pieces weren't fully there. And I think that maybe the coolest thing about chain abstraction is like it really is hard to predict what it will enable. But it's going to enable things that we can't imagine today in the same way that the internet enabled things that we couldn't imagine back then. Maybe it's the social media network of the future.
In simple terms, chain abstraction is all about making life easier and better in ways we can and cannot yet imagine. For example, imagine trying to drive a car without ever touching the engine or knowing how it works. That's essentially what chain abstraction aims to do for blockchain technology. It's about removing the complicated technical details so that regular people can use blockchain-powered apps without even realizing they're using blockchain. So, what does that mean exactly? Think about it this way. Instead of dealing with confusing crypto wallets, complex security phrases, and figuring out which blockchain to use, chain abstraction simplifies everything. It's like having a magical translator that converts the complicated blockchain language into something easy to understand. With chain abstraction, you have easy access to amazing technology across the blockchain universe, all through a single account, from one user interface. With Near Fast Auth, you can create an account using just your email address, no complicated setup required. You can start using apps without needing any initial funds. It's like getting a free ride in a taxi. Having a Near account is like having that one super powerful passport that grants you access to any country of your choice. You can use the same account to access different networks without having to worry about a thing. Now, to make this magic happen, there's some clever technology involved. In Near, the relayers simply attach Near to cover gas fees, and pass the transaction to the network. There, the transaction is executed as if the user had sent it. Also, Near Protocol provides a multi-chain signature service that allows users to use their Near account to sign transactions in other chains. This means that a user can use the same account to interact with Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, and Near. Multi-chain signatures essentially let you use one key to unlock multiple digital doors. This is achieved through a system where smart contracts create digital signatures, which are then tracked and used to send instructions to different blockchains. This means you can own assets and use apps on various blockchain networks, all while managing everything from a single account. You, as a user, will simply log in with an email, and a Zero Fund account will be created for you. No seed phrases to remember, no private keys to safekeep, and no need to acquire funds. Just sign up and explore. This would also allow you to collect NFTs across different chains without ever needing to explicitly create an account or acquire crypto. All with just a single email login.